what you say.
I think that's one of his main points. Is just like the growing population. We're changing so fast because of all these people and all the technology. But is it really helping us out? It could be in some ways, but other ways it's really hampering, and that's why we kind of hate us at points.
And I think, Trip, you kind of brought us back to a very, very important point that in many ways we are a society that is evolving so quickly that we're in many ways trying to find, like we're trying to find in this book, the key point, what's defining us. In many ways, that's why I think in many ways we are hating us as well.
I think technology can make you meaner sometimes. I know when I was like working customer service and people would call me on the phone, they'd be so much like worse to me and say horrible things, and they come into the office and see me face to face,
Right,
and
exactly.
they would change their attitude
You're not
immediately.
gonna do a lot of crap.
There's less confrontation.
Yeah.
You know, on an email, there's no confrontation on the other side of an email. You just press send and that's it.
No one's
You can be
crying.
a little tougher on email. You can be the person that you always wanted to be through email and through technology. I mean, because certain things limit us from, going off on people in front of them. Maybe, you might see them as being too big, or they might can beat us up or something like that. But over the internet, they can't touch you unless they find out where you are, who you are. So it kind of takes the restrictions off of what you want to do and what you can do, because you don't have to worry about the consequences that go along with your actions for the most part.
So I think we've covered that pretty well. Shall we move on then to self-help? This self-ism that Maya here is relating to, and our comments and thoughts about that.
I hate self-help.
I'm with you on that. Go ahead, Leah. Let's hear what you're about to say.
One of the quotes, he always quotes different authors in this book, and one of them was, the more people feel themselves adrift, in a vast, impersonal, anonymous sea, the more desperately they swim toward anything familiar, intelligible, and a protective life raft. So in a way, like when there's so many strangers in the world, when everything's changing, and you don't really feel connected anywhere, the more you swim towards something, whether it be like something in politics or a sport or a sports fan, anything like that, and that's like kind of like, in a way, separating everybody because they all latch on. And it can be a good thing, but it can also be a very bad thing if that's how you identify yourself, I think.
I saw a book in the library once called How to Read a Book. I don't know, I was just like, wow, okay. And self-help, I don't know, I just don't see what gives the author of the book the right to tell somebody the proper way to live. Because, I mean, we're all different, and everything doesn't work for everyone. So you kind of can't rely on other people to tell you, what's best for you.
You're so right about that. I've thought about that a million times. I think about how in a society in general we're born and immediately tell you you're going to do this and this and this and this. You have no choice in the matter.
Right.
And that's a great thing, but it's also a really bad thing. Where the hell did they decide at one point that a bunch of dry old men somewhere in Greece had it figured out? That this was the way we should live. Yeah, it's definitely a very, very good point to think about. Yeah, I'm definitely with you. I hate self-help books. I find it to be,
Dick Meyer hates him too. He rips into them in this book.
Yeah, he definitely does. Self-help, that's. So the next thing was candidates. Oh yeah, the personalized candidates. We kind of touched on that a little bit. How essentially technologies gotten us to the point where we can know what's going on in people's lives. Hundreds of miles away and are untouchable in many social circumstances. Yet we key into that a lot and we're obsessed with it.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of interesting. It seems to me that most people know what's going on with Lindsay Lohan more than they know what's going on with their own mom or sister or brother. Which is kind of interesting. What do you guys think about that with regard to technology being so advanced now that we know more information about people we don't even know than people we actually do know?
But not only that, if you go to any grocery store, any place with a magazine rack, all they have is US, Us, People, Weekly, all these different magazines that broadcast everyone's life and all of their dirt. So in reality, you don't really have to go to the internet or technology to see it all, because it's always in front of us and it's always broadcasted. And to be quite frank, it sells because it's drama, and people with boring lives love to see what's going on in other people's lives because it just makes their lives that much more interesting.
I wish I could say all lives are boring, but I know you people, so I know that's not true. Oh yeah, and also to another really, really important point here that I think affects all of us, and we all don't like that fact. But I'll tell you right now, you know, my uncle in Germany, he gets something called holidays. And we do not get that. We as Americans work more than any other country in the world. We work more hours than everyone. We have less vacation time. And our culture is being geared towards that fact actually becoming worse, not better.
Yeah, definitely. And it's the more we work, I mean, the harder we have to work to get ahead now, because the guy next door, the guy sitting next to you, he's working 60-hour weeks. What are you going to do to get promoted?
Exactly.
You're going to work 65, 70 hours a week, and that's, how do we stop that? I don't know.
Like in the book, I think he was speaking about the guy, the pastor of the church, I think it was Chris Eads or something, how all the people in his congregation, they all live in suburban areas and they're all trying to keep up with each other. They're all trying to have the 5-bedroom house and the big SUV and
Keeping up with the Joneses.
keeping up with the Joneses, and they're all trying to be soccer moms and whatever the case may be. And like, it puts a lot of pressure on Americans, and that's why we work so hard, because we want to have the big house, we want to have the big car, nice car. So like you can't like vacation, not that you can't, but it's not realistic to have all that vacation time and still have all that other stuff. So we tell ourselves, you got to keep going, you got to keep pushing to get this thing.
I think Wasco talked about this in class, how we don't have, since we don't have any free time, is our society really going to benefit from all this technology when we're driving in the car, and that used to be our downtime, our slack time, where we used to think and like connect this end of the brain to this end of the brain, and we come up with an idea. But now that we have all this technology and we're talking on the phone during our car ride home, we're not freely thinking and letting our brain like, you know, think about different things and relax and rejuvenate. So is our society really going to benefit from all this?
You mean it may be hurting innovation in many ways, right?
Maybe,
Maybe hurting the light bulb going off.
Yeah.
Because we're all always dialed in.
We're constantly dialed in, whether it be on the internet, TV, iPhone.
And also another point I wanted to make about this is this concept of keeping up with the Joneses. Essentially, if we're always trying to keep up with the Joneses, then we have less leisure time. One of the problems as well is that when does it get to a certain point when we have so much to lose that we lie? And you know, bringing this back to our current economic situation. Thank you very much, CEOs. You know, where essentially they lie to people about bonds. You know, essentially making these what is it again? Realty-backed securities, essentially, mortgage-backed securities that fail and have left us in a very, very serious situation, you know, financially. It seems to me then that there's two downsides to why you wouldn't want to always try to keep up, because you might destroy yourself in many ways.
I think that also goes back to selfism in the book, that everybody's looking out for themselves. So if I'm going to lie to make these bonds look better and make a whole bunch of money for myself, then I'm going to do it. And you need to do whatever you need to do to keep up with me or whatever the case may be. So everybody's looking out for their own self-interest, and in turn we're all hurting each other.
I think you definitely can't have too many Machiavellian personalities living in a society of one. And we are kind of breeding this kind of Machiavellian society, aren't we? In this kind of individual, I'm looking out for me, and you know, I'm going to try and I'm number one beyond other things. Whereas in other societies, this is definitely not the case.